Oh God. Look at us.
Look at
Our
us.
royalty-free countdown music.
It's just incredible. Each and every time. It's the same, but it's still just bangers with a Z. Multiple bangers.
It's like the Jeopardy music, but just a little bit more, a little bit better. A little more fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jeopardy is royalty free though, so we couldn't use that one. But
we
overall,
could get away with it.
Who's gonna stop us?
Who's gonna? Is Ken Jennings gonna come out of the woodwork and stop us? No, we're free men, free country. Vito, we're back again. We're back to discuss everything and anything USF Olympic sports, USF athletics. It's the roundup. It's your host. Yeah, you're giddy up. It's your host, Robert Glay. It is your other host, Anthony Vito. We're back. We're alive somehow from Gasparilla, which is just the best thing about Tampa by far is just Gasparilla being the greatest parade in not even the Southeast. I can't even. It's not better than Mardi Gras.
Who needs Mardi Gras? No, who needs Mardi Gras? Everyone's on boats. They're throwing beads. You're drinking rum. You're having a good time down Bayshore. Who doesn't love it? Unless you live down there. Maybe then you don't love it. But even then, that would be fun.
No, and with Bayshore being the longest like continuous sidewalk or whatever it is in the United States, it's just absolutely perfect. It is the most, but it's I think it's the longest continuous sidewalk in like the country, and it's like it's absolutely perfect for a parade. Like we went down there for maybe like, I kid you not, like 2 to 3 minutes, because we realized it's just massively. I mean, this has become the new thing that everyone does, to end January or anything like that. But yeah, we went down there and I was like, God damn, like this is a massive parade. And of course, the second that we get to the parade, the USF float is floating on by. And I was like, it's a sign from God. I'm wearing my USF hockey jersey. This is the greatest moment of my life.
Is Rocky the Bull, wearing his pirate costume?
Oh yeah. Oh, that Rocky the Bull pirate costume is gonna get its run at one of these days. It's gonna become like the new. It's gonna become an icon, and we need more. We need more for it. We need to have that in more occasions. Like if we're ever playing like ECU, just to like fuck with them and just have Pirate Rocky, needs to happen.
I see. I'm all about that, and I think it was Carl. Shout out Carl Z. Who coined the term? Maybe not coined, but said in an article once. Gaspar rivalry, and to me, I like that, and they need to really lean into that because I don't think the ECU cares. I mean, we have the pirate ship anyway. Do the whole Gaspar rivalry thing. Get Rocky in the pirate costume. Make it a good time. Get the parrot.
That's what I want in this new American Athletic Conference, which I know we're all eagerly awaiting it. I want more just stupid rivalries between these schools. Like nothing serious, nothing, we're not fighting each other in the stands or anything like that. But like between like USF and UTSA having like two of the more famous river walks, like that should be a trophy of some sort. Between USF and ECU with yes, greatest thing ever. Between USF and ECU having this weird pirate shit going on. There's no pirates in Greenville, South Carolina, North Carolina, whichever Carolina it is.
You're right. We're the
rightful. There's too many Greenvilles. We're the rightful heirs to having piracy, and the fact that we have a conference mate that has stolen this from our pridelands, shameful. Just between the nerding out of USF and Rice, academics wise, huge rivalry there.
Yeah,
needs to happen.
I love it. Yeah, see, you know what? I for one am excited because you know what? You get a whole new batch of people to play. Mm-hmm. We're gonna make new friends. I for one choose the high road on this, and with the playoff expansion, let's have some fun. UTSA, what is it? They also have a river walk. Let's do a river walk off. I want to hang out with a road runner. That sounds like fun. Let's go to San Antonio. Why not?
Right.
Actually, you know what I'm really excited about is going to our friends in Charlotte because I know, Stieg, that is your favorite airport.
I fucking just there's two things I hate in this world. It's the Charlotte airport and the idea of going to the Charlotte airport. Both of them just I can't stand that airport. And I made it very clear to the guys that run the there's our friends over at Agent 49. They're a kind of like similar to what the Daily Stampede is now, where it's more of like a Discord kind of setup. But
And they're Agent 49. How about that?
Agent 49, which by the way, they're up to like 52 football recruits. They once they passed 49 football recruits, they were like on cloud nine, and then they got a commit right after that, and they ruined it. But no, they I made it very clear to them. I don't hate them. I hate their airport. I would fight them in that airport.
I've only been to Charlotte Airport once, and I don't have that anger towards them, but I will give that to you. But I am looking forward to playing Charlotte. One team I still wish we were able to get on board was Georgia State.
Yeah,
because if I can go to Atlanta more often, I'm okay with that. Atlanta's a great town. Georgia State's pretty cool. They have an area called Pantherville. I want to live in Pantherville. That's pretty cool.
They, I think it wasn't a miss, and we're getting off on a huge tangent here, and I don't care. It wasn't a miss by the conference to add Florida Atlantic, because Florida Atlantic is got a respectable basketball program going right now. Usually, pretty consistent 5 to 6 win team on the gridiron. But they really should have looked at Georgia as kind of completing this, because it feels like there's just a void now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's scary to kind of go ankles deep in Atlanta, but I would have loved like a Georgia State in place. But I'm not also going to complain about Florida Atlantic, because frankly, their men's basketball team is really, really good. God bless if they're able to keep this sustainability, because if there's one thing I know about mid-major basketball, is the second that you become good, your coach is about to make a lot of money.
They leave, and guess what? In fact, I believe it was Georgia State who had Ron Hunter before he went to Tulane. So there you go. There's your full circle. Georgia State was great. And we've heard on and off that they probably didn't want to come. Any of those Sunbelt teams didn't, but we digress.
Steve, it'll be fine.
How was your Gasparilla?
Oh, it was good. It was nice. We didn't do the whole shebang. And I think the smart thing to do for Gasparilla, if you don't know anyone that lives there or anything like that, is to just accept the fact of get there at like 11 to 12 to 1 o'clock. Like that's the sweet time. Don't if you're between the ages of 18 and 23, then yes, show up at 6 o'clock in the morning like the degenerates you are, and try to drink for as long as you possibly can. But for the rest of us who have adult livers now, it's so perfect to be done with everything by like 4 o'clock. And I think that's the beauty of Gasparilla, is that 4 o'clock hits, the parade's basically done. There's nothing else really going on. Just and then you head home, and you get a little food, and you get a little McDonald's. We ended up leaving to head back around like 3 o'clock, or actually it was a little bit later than that. It was about 4 o'clock. And just we went to Shuffle over here in Tampa Heights, got some food in us. We went back home for a little bit. I made some people some coffee. Then we went to another bar, and it was perfect. And we were home. It was 8 o'clock. And I looked at Paige and I was like, I've been drinking for like 8 hours. I could go to bed right now and feel great. And I did. I woke up today, played pickleball at 7 a.m. Life was good. Life was grand, actually. No hangover, nothing.
7 a.m. pickleball. Is that like
7 a.m.?
7 a.m. first serve, or 7 a.m. you get there?
Frankly, we rolled in at 8 o'clock. It was me and Jake Sansom, friend of the blog, friend of the Discord.
At Do Crimes Jake?
At Do Crimes Jake. Absolute golden gem of a human being, my golden retriever king. But yeah, we roll in at like 8 o'clock, and you could tell that crowd was a little bit hungover, and there was a smell of rum in the air. But
I love it. You're sweating out the rum that you had before. Well, you know what? I'm going to parallel what our friend Astro Bull 67 says. I'm so proud of you.
Appreciate you guys. I hit my my Fitbit goal for the week already. Great moments in the Stieg life. Vito, tell me about your Gasparilla.
I didn't go to Gasparilla, my friend. What I did do is go see the band that performed at our wedding, Whiskey Sonic, at a new place in Brandon I never heard of. Now I'm blanking on the name. JF Kicks, maybe? That might be it. AF Kicks. Yep, that's it. That was pretty cool. It's got like a little patio. There were some dancing pirates there who came after Gasparilla. That was a good
Of
old
course.
time. But I always love seeing that, hanging out with my wife and her family, and we had a good old time. But yeah, we decided to bypass Gasparilla this year. Just not saying that I'm getting older, but as you're getting older, sometimes you don't want to party all the time, and was just doing some other things. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like a good time as always. It's good to be able to go out, have a good time, come back early, and not stay out all night. I applaud that. That is full on adulting, my friend.
It is. It is responsible. We had McDonald's at the end of the night too. It's so good. So great.
You can't go wrong with that. McDonald's is just perfect after a long day of drinking.
It's so good. But there was a point to this, and the tie-in to USF at least is whoever at USF Athletics looked at the calendar of events and everything like that and decided that this weekend was going to be the Come to the Bay event for non Tampa Bay high school juniors and sophomores and freshmen that they're targeting, and have that kind of be the day that they're doing that. Genius, just absolute genius, because that event was over at like it was over at like 2 o'clock, I think, and not saying that any of those kids made it over to Tampa or to Bayshore or anything like that, but now you kind of are explaining to them the glory of living in the Tampa Bay area, and you have one of the coolest parades and one of the coolest festivals going on at the same time. And oh yeah, you get to tour our brand new indoor performance facility, and you get to be part of the team that is going to have an on-campus stadium here. Genius, so good, so good. Whoever did it.
I mean, brilliant on the come to the Bay, stay at the Bay, doing it 2 different weekends to be able to work with people who are local and then people who are coming from out of town. I think that's really, really neat how they're doing that. Doing the come to the Bay for Gasparilla. I just wonder if that worked out the way it did, or if that was specific. He's like, hey, it's Gasparilla. We're gonna bring the out of towners here just to show them that, or at least see it. But it's one of those. The IPF, and you're seeing all the photos, having the light up letters with all the green lights and all the panache around it in the IPF is just so fantastic. Because I know you do that at the stadium as well, but having it in that in the indoor performance facility, I mean, that you have something to bring all of your recruits to, and that is just absolutely huge that it's open at this time with a brand new coach. It's like it's showing, but I mean, it looks great when you see those photos out there, and it looks like everyone's having a good time.
Oh, they made sure that lighting in there is just impeccable. I don't know. and speaking of those big lights, and I promise we'll get to the Olympic sports in a second. The company that does like those big lights for like these recruiting events, oh, they made a killing in the last year. I don't know what they charge. I don't know how much it costs to do that, but I can imagine that it's not expensive to maintain those, or to get them, I should say, or make them or something like that. But to like charge, let's just say, a 50% markup on like a letter. Holy shit, you're making like $100 for an S, and all you did was just put together like 5 light bulbs and a plastic outline.
Oh, you want to add vanity light bulbs? Guess what? Extra $20. I mean,
easy,
but it looks good. It just it pops. I don't. Again, I'm not sure when that started or how big of a trend it is, but it looks good. I mean, right. it really shows that recruiting matters. So
it does.
As we talk about as we see how many guys visited this weekend, we're going to find out later this week. We have a few special things for National Signing Day coming up, but for now, we're going to pivot to what this show is really about. Steve.
Yes. Oh God. I don't know
start with the bad, or you want to start with the good?
No, we're going to start with the bad because, well, it's not all bad, I should say. So we'll start with men's basketball. And we haven't done this show in about a week and a half, and a lot of things have happened in a week and a half for USF men's basketball, both the good and the bad and the really ugly. And we'll start with the good side of things. And in fact, there's a lot of good that happened early on last week. So the SoFlo Rodeo, the student-led, but also USF athletics affiliated student section has been taken off in full swing right now. And it's been really, really good for the home crowd, especially when you look around the rest of the conference. It has made a difference some other schools are not benefiting from a lively student section, and there's a lot of question marks about what's going on, how they're investing and everything like that. We will say a lot of bad things about USF athletics at times. We try to maintain positivity on this show. USF athletics helping endorse the SoFlo rodeo is the smartest thing that they have done. It was a very self-aware thing that they did, and they looked at themselves in the mirror and said, we need to uplift this and put it into a positive, stance and everything like that. At first, you could shit on it, you can say what you will. Oh, hiring a guy to build a student section, that sounds stupid. No, it's genius, because there were so many UCF fans that were hurling stones at USF for doing this. And then they turned around and had, and I shit you not, 10 students in their student section for their game against Temple. There's a difference, and there's a culture being built at USF, and it's welcomed. And because of that, Vito, I'll let you.
I was going to say the one thing that, like, I'm not sure how long this was going in the process, but it kind of came out in the middle of the season, kind of a few games in the conference season, when it really pitched out, hey, SoFlo Rodeo, and then you really saw it. And it almost immediately had an impact.
It did.
So what they were able to do, and I don't know how much lead time they had, how many meetings, how much they had with the students to bring it up. It happened almost immediately from a public perception. So I'm fascinated by that, because you're able to take a student section for a team that isn't particularly good and hasn't been historically good, and now you're packing the place. And I give it to the students for football. They were packing the place for a team that's only won 3 FBS games in 3 years. Like, that's the one thing where, okay, if you can get the students involved, those are now going to be fans for life, and that's how it really kind of keeps going. You need to really work to bring the alumni back, but if you can keep the students going, and I'm astounded, and I'd love to talk to the fellow who started this, or I bring on SoFlo Rodeo representatives to say, how long did you have this lead time? Because it went from 0 to 10 immediately, without any kind of what it appeared to be marketing prior.
Right. Oh yeah, and it's one of those things that sounds so stupid, but it's just a fresh brand to it, because I think the herd was getting kind of stale, and for them to kind of re-uplifted it. And yes, I know everyone hates the slime. I know people have problems with the slime and the connotation it has to the UCF rivalry and everything like that. But if we can now pivot that slime into, this is something that the students can wear, the student section, and have that be the thing for it, that's even better. And to tie this all in together, the men's basketball team whacked UCF in men's basketball, just decimated them.
Hilariously so, like out of nowhere.
I don't know what happens once a year for USF men's basketball, but they put it together for that UCF game every single time at home. I think this is the 4th straight victory for our men's basketball team over UCF. So at the Yuengling Center, I have to clarify that. So honestly, a great performance by USF the entire way through. And it's led by the fact that they did the little things right. But unless it did go from 0 to 100 very quickly for them. And for the students, it really only takes about 100 students to show up to the men's basketball games to make a big difference like that. And God forbid, if they start winning more, that student section's going to have to expand, and they've never had that happen before. But going back to the UCF game, the Bulls did the little things right. And by the little things, I mean they hit free throws. They had 22 free throws in the game. They made 20 of them. That's 23 points that USF was able to kind of put together to put forth a 13-point victory over UCF. They won 85-72. Harris went for a career high. Tyler Harris has been a gem pickup for Brian Gregory here. Career high 33 points on got 6 3-pointers out of that, and then shot just an insane amount of free throws. J-Wall got a game high 12 rebounds, and we out rebounded UCF 41-30. And usually, if USF can out rebound the other team and USF can get more free throws than the other team, they'll usually win. Usually.
It's one of those those things end up having issues, which is why they can't close out games or why they end up having dug themselves in deep holes. And we'll get to the other couple games that happened because those things occurred. But when you're able to click on all those cylinders, you get a game like this where you win by 15 points against your rival. And it was incredible because every time UCF would start climbing back, Tyler Harris would knock down a three. And it was just him and Russ. And I mean, at one point, Keyshawn Bryant had like a ridiculous dunk, as he does. That was perfect, and it was like the same as last season where USF didn't win a conference game, and then they beat UCF out of nowhere at home. It's just okay. If this is what we're gonna do, that's what it's like. The rest of it, don't even care. That was hilarious, and that was fun, and everybody got dunked on, and it was hilarious. It was definitely a fun time. It was one game, and yes, it's one game, and it doesn't, it is what it is. But it's really good to kind of have that, get right game against your rival as well, with the SoFlo Rodeo, with the attendance being as big as it was, to be able to see all that and put a game together. Because now you can say this is what the blueprint is. It's just getting all the guys to be able to do that consistently, and that's hard to do. I mean, as we've seen.
And by the way, I need to point this out before I forget. Yes, we're matching, not planned, and we're leaning into it at this point.
Homefield Apparel,
homefieldapparel.com. But as you mentioned, not everything was rainbows and butterflies for USF men's basketball. They traveled up to Philadelphia to take on Temple. They lost 79-76 in overtime. And again, usually if they're first, if they out-rebound, they win the game. They did not hit free throws. They did not out-rebound the Owls, and they lost because of it. And I'm going to go back to my stat sheet because I had it up and then I turned it away. It's becoming this reoccurring issue with the Brian Gregory coached men's basketball team. And it's very unfortunate because when they do put it together, it is a very efficient offense with a very, very stout defense when they put it together. But they very rarely will put all four phases of their game into action. Usually one or two of those are faltering at any particular time. And as a result, something like this happens where USF should have won this game. Again, 79-76 lost overtime. USF shot 8 for 21 on free throws. If you hit 50%, you win the game easy.
You could even hit less than that. And this is they came back. They were down 6 fairly late in the game, and they were able to string on a couple baskets together, and they had the final shot. And then unfortunately, your best shooter, Tyler Harris, just could not find his stroke that game. So they found other ways to get it to overtime, and then at that point, it was just too late. They weren't able to continue that. But it's free throws, man. Like you have your probably your best free throw shooting game against UCF, and then you turn around and it's an enigma. It's hard to see because it's like you try to fix it. How do you fix free throws mid-season? It's one of those things.
It's at some point because that's been the story of USF for the past 6 years. But Russ from USF's Rivals website pointed out the way that Temple kind of managed that game was very different than the way that the UCF game went, and that was probably the cause of the free throws issues. Because for the UCF game, it was very guard oriented, and so Tyler Harris and Jameer Chan, I think, shot 20 free throws combined, and the only other person that shot a free throw was Russ Chewa, who missed both his. So Tyler Harris went 13 for 13, and I think Jameer Chaplin went 7 for 7, and then Russ went 0 for 2. And then it didn't matter at that point because he only shot 2 free throws. But then you turn right around and against Temple, where they've got more big men on Temple's roster, they were kind of bullying in the inside and everything, and so Russ had to shoot more free throws. And I love the guy, but he's not a good free throw shooter. And that's kind of the biggest issue, because then at that point, you look up and down, and Russ Chewa went, 3 for 8 on free throws. Keyshawn Bryant, 3 for 8 on free throws. Both of your big guys shoot under 50%, and it sinks the rest of your team. Tyler Harris, only shot 2 free throws the entire game. Jameer Chaplin, no free throws. Tim Hines, no free throws. Selton Miguel, no free throws. Like, again, free. These are free buckets. If you sunk 90% of them like you did against UCF, you're winning this game by 8, and then you don't worry about it.
Well, at that point, it's a tactic. It's okay if they're inside. You obviously count who has how many fouls, so you don't do that. But then you don't give them the easy bucket, because Russ is really good with he'll do the hook shot. He'll be able to make some moves to get on inside. But if you just stop them from shooting and make them shoot free throws, then all of a sudden it becomes like, yeah, exactly. It's
a free that he gets on the hook doesn't happen.
Exactly. So it's hard to emulate how to fix that. And this is Temple straight off of their win against Houston as well. And they went, they're at home. Playing on the road's always hard. But yeah, that game was just you got it to overtime by scoring the last 6 points to get it there, and that was great. But it is tough.
And the worst part is, the second I think that overtime started, you knew there was no way they were going to win it. You knew they could not pull it out. They were just something riddled inside of me that just said, it's over. I mean, they'll crawl back like they always do. This is one of the best offensive teams that Brian Gregory has put together. But they suck at defense, man. They cannot defend, and it's frustrating at times, because then you have like today. So again, Temple, pretty good at basketball this year. I think they're second in the conference. They only have 2 conference losses to Houston, they lost to Houston earlier in the year, and then Tulane. So a pretty good team. And then USF plays a very comparable team, SMU, who is having a very down year at this point. And again, you kept it close at the end, but you did a lot of really bad things for the first 5 minutes. And so USF lost to SMU today, 82-80. And it's much of the same forever. Poor free throw shooting, getting out rebounded, or not getting enough second chance points, and then just not being able to defend efficiently is what does them in. SMU is historically this season had been one of the poorer field goal shooting teams in the conference, and they shot over 50% today. That's USF's luck this year.
And the Bulls actually offensively looked really good. They shot 46% from the field. They shot 33 from 3. Tyler Harris was back on. He had 23 points. He was 5 for 10 from 3-point range. So it's just, you were able to get that. You're able to bring it all the way back too, because you were down by 12 at halftime, and I think as many as 14, 15. And you bring it all the way back, and you just you can't close it out. But again, when a team is going to go ahead and score 50% from the field and 43% from 3, I mean, if I just looked at the box score, I would assume that USF got blown out. So the fact that they kept it close was pretty phenomenal. And you said it, they have this is probably the best offense. And yeah, I mean, I'm including the CBI here, the best offense of the Brian Gregory era. It's just now the defense isn't as constricting as it was before.
Right. And it's a testament to the different style that Brian Gregory had and basically installed over the last 2 years. This Princeton style offense, like he finally has it rolling, instead of that hero ball we saw at the CBI championship a couple of years ago with, David Collins or whoever else. It was hero ball. It was drive and paint, go up for the foul, shoot free throws, win the game. Which for a poor free throw shooting team just doesn't seem right to do. But it's a more refreshing style of offense, but there still just doesn't seem like there's cohesivity on the offensive side of things. It seems like it's really just things. It's Tyler Harris being hot from 3. It's Russ Chewa in the middle, hitting bunny hook or anything like that. And then kind of guys, Keyshawn Bryan, Sam Hines, Selton Miguel, whoever else it is, kind of providing support. It's ironic because it reminds me a lot of what the USF women's basketball team's game plan is with Sammy Puisis and Dulcie and Shinek, but like it's just not ran as efficiently because there's no set plays that these guys run. It's like, oh shit, like shot is winding down. Are we able to get the ball inside? We'll give the ball to Russ. Can we can we not get it inside? We get Tyler Harris, shoots it from the logo. Oh, we have an extra couple of seconds on the shot clock. Get it to Keyshawn Bryant and see if he can make magic out of it. It's a lot of infuriating minor details, and it's part of the reason why there probably needs to be a fresh start for USF next year. Again, we try to maintain positivity and not say the F word too much around these parts, but
different F word. Different effort.
The different word. But we try to steer away from that because that's not who Vito and I are. But it is at a point where we can kind of say definitively, this is who this team is. They will score 80 points. The other team will probably score more than 80 points. And today they went 11 for 16 on free throws. Again, if they shot 90% like they did against UCF, they win.
I mean, I'll take 11 for 16. What I'm amazed if you actually look at the box score here, 17-2 on second chance points in favor of USF, 20-13 points off turnovers in favor of USF. They have more bench points, 30-22 points in the paint, 36-34 fast break points, 16-14, and still lost. But SMU had 5 players in double figures. It's hard to win like that. This was just a game where offensively they look great, and you put this offensive performance in some of the other losses earlier in the year. I mean, heck, against Temple, you're probably going to win that game. So this is just one of those really bad situations where you had you played one of your better offensive games and then one of your worst defensive games, and that's just like you said. That's men's basketball at this point. It's what team's going to come out. I still say at least this year, only one time against Cincinnati they got blown out in conference play, whereas last year it was almost every other one. I mean, he's got the team playing. I don't know. It's tough to see, but it's year 6.
Yeah, and this is the most talented team that he has had, like probably by far. I mean, Tyler Harris and Russ Jawa alone are good enough, but you add a guy like Keyshawn and Selden Miguel on this, and Sam Hines, who's been a rebound machine. This is a really, really talented team that is 9-13. And it probably, I think, what is it? They have a handful. Yeah, they will not go unless they go on an absolute tear. Will not go over 500 in conference play for this 6th straight season.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. One thing I will say, Tyler Harris is fun to watch, and he is probably one of the better shooters USF has had, at least since I've been watching. When he is on, he is on. Guy hits it from the logo. It's finally great to have a 3-point shooter who can shoot like that. I just It's when he's on, he's on, but when he's off, what happens against Temple? Only 4 points.
Yeah, and can't have that. Can't have that at this point, at least. But Vito, it's time to talk about the better skill. It's time to talk about the better basketball team. Tell us about it.
We're going to talk about the women's basketball team, who is still completely undefeated in conference play, has won 10 straight on the road after their wins against UCF, against Tulsa, and against Memphis. Nate and Seth already talked about the absolute destruction of UCF, 83-51. They got slimed. They just dominated the Knights in every aspect of the game, went wire to wire. I just read that straight off the sheet that Steve made. It was great. Chinecki 21, Dulcie went 18 and 13. She is a walking double-double. Every time she's in that gym, she is going to get at least 10 rebounds and at least 15 points. And I know we talked about, is she better than Betty? This season for sure. I think this season Dulcie is on an absolute tear. And then Sammy and Brito, 12 and 13 respectively. And let's talk about the emergence of Carla Brito, who's a freshman, and she continuously is in the starting lineup, getting more and more minutes, and I think we're going to see her scoring go up. She has been really phenomenal this year as a defender. So after they beat UCF, they went on the road to Tulsa, which at the time was the second place American Athletic Conference tournament team. They did recently lose to Tulane, so they're no longer undefeated, but they went into Tulsa and beat the brakes off of them too, 89-68. And Tulsa's a good team. Now they're kind of on a little bit of a downturn, but they were the second best team in the conference, and they went on the road and they just beat them. Used a strong 30-8 run in the second and third quarter to carry the team. And again, keeping those strong third quarters. This is one thing that USF women's basketball. I don't know what Jose says at halftime, but even if the other team starts crawling back, the third quarter they take the reins and they end up creating the deficit for them. And again, when they're shooting, they are on, and they can shoot in many different ways. And then yesterday they beat Memphis 67-62. So this was at Memphis. This was a tough game. Memphis is good defensively, but they only had an 18-17 advantage in the third quarter. That's the smallest third quarter advantage they had in conference play. So Memphis knew that they needed to win that, and they nearly did. But they were outscored 21-15 in the fourth. Now, listening to the game, USF kept having this nice, strong lead, and then eventually it would dwindle, and then they kind of kept Memphis at arm's length. But Memphis has a couple really, really good players, including one of they had a player who's knocking down threes. They just played their heart out, but USF was able to come out with the victory there. And this is another victory, Stieg, like the Houston game on the road. You're playing a really tough defensive team. In years past, USF might find a way to lose this game, but they're able to keep these teams at arm's length to be able to get the victory. And that to me is incredible. It's hard to win on the road, especially when you're on a 10-game winning streak. It's hard to go on the road again and win in conference, especially against decent teams. But yeah, Elena Chinecki had 23 points, Dulcie 17 and 13. Her 9th rebound of the game was actually her 1,000th career rebound between Memphis and USF. And the announcers were Memphis announcers. Her being at Memphis before, they congratulated her. That was a very big accomplishment for her. And it was also her 50th double-double of her career as well. So Dulcie is doing an incredible, incredible job on this team. And then Sammy 4 for 10 from 3-point field goals for 14 points. Not as much as she normally gets, but again, they can win in many different ways. Memphis had more points off of turnover, second chance points, and fast break points, but Bulls held for the victory, and it is their 20th victory. So the first in the conference to 20. They're still undefeated. And next up, they have ECU on Tuesday, who is sneaking up near the top of the conference, and then they play SMU on Saturday as well. At this point, they already were, but there's going to have to be a massive, massive drop off for them to lose the regular season conference tournament, or conference championship rather, going into the tournament, because everyone has at least 2 losses.
No, they control their own destiny in multiple ways at this point, and really they would be their own worst enemy at this point. I don't think that there's anyone else in the conference that's even close to as talented and as deep as this women's basketball team. Mm-hmm. If they lose, it is going to be on their own accord. It's going to be them not knocking down threes. It'd be Dulcie fouling out early on and not getting that depth help, because they do have the deep bench to put together like a kind of a clunker win, like they would normally lose. I remember a few years ago when, the women's basketball was rolling out 7 gals to play at Houston, and 2 of them fouled out in the middle of the third quarter, and they're running, 5-woman press. And
Houston was good at the
end of the game. Mm-hmm. And Houston was good. And at this point, they are one of the deepest teams in the country, when it comes to getting points from all over. They have enough. Yeah.
One thing I was going to add, like you mentioned, for the bench, Danielle Gonzalez, the freshman, scored 8 points yesterday against Memphis, played 6 minutes. So she even is putting in some time. And Maria Alvarez is still only kind of inching back from her injury, so she only played 6 minutes. But the more reps you can get, especially the freshmen, this team is deep and they're very, very good. I mean, what the difference between this year and years past is they can beat you in multiple ways, and they know how to grind out a win if they need to play really hard defensively and get a lot of down low baskets from Dulcie, or if they want to sharpshoot with Sammy, and Elena can do it all. She can mid-range jump. Right. She can shoot threes. She made an incredible 3, like practically from the leg. Like watching her drive to the basket, drive through the lane too, And unlike men's basketball, they're really good at shooting free throws too.
Yes, they are. That is the key to this team, is that they will sink their free throws.
Mm-hmm. So they're fun to watch. This is the best team on campus right now to watch. And if you haven't been to a women's basketball game, please go. Please support Jose's squad, and please support the women's basketball team, because if it goes the way it goes and they are able to run the table, win the conference tournament, and get the regular season conference championship, and also go to the tournament, who knows what's going to happen? Right. I think it was over here. Rank them, you cowards. They came in 25th in the coaches poll, but in the coaches, yet. But to me, it's like, you're playing like this. Maybe it's a chip on your shoulder type thing. Maybe don't rank them. Just seed them appropriately. It's just one of those. I think their 4 losses are against teams that were ranked, and they had Ohio State, who was undefeated at the time. I think they ended up losing last week, but they had them on the ropes, and they should have won that game. But they haven't, and they're undefeated at home, which is just incredible.
Yeah, they've got that home spurt going. They at this regular season rankings don't matter, especially when it's basketball anymore. Like, unless you're rattling off like a 27 game win streak, and you're playing up against Campbell and some other clunker schools. Like, schedule the non-conference tough, because at the end of the day, you run the table in your own conference, you win the conference championship, you're going to be seated. You should be seated appropriately. They're getting seeding and projections as high as I've seen 6th, and actually quite a favorable region as well.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
But I mean, at this point, I fully expect you, like the women's basketball team, to be seated 8th, and they're playing like Iowa, and like that's the luck that they're gonna have. Is that's how things are gonna roll for them. Is that they're gonna end up playing either like a traditional powerhouse, or like the hottest mid-major team in the country. Those are their 2 options. They're not going to get like a middling Kentucky team. They're not going to get like anything like that. They should be ranked. They're going to get ranked, especially if they keep this up. But just win out. I don't care about the rankings. Win out. That's all they got to do.
Yep, just take care of business and do your thing. Get the double, bring the championship back here, and then we'll see what the cards are held. But again, they took Ohio State to the ropes. I mean, at this point, this team, could be, and they played NC State hard. It's one of those. This team might be different, but you're right. I have nightmares again with that Buffalo first round. They played the 11th seed in Buffalo and got smoked, because Buffalo is really, really good and were misranked. But go women's basketball. 2 games this week, and we're closing in on the end of conference play.
It's amazing. It's amazing how quick these basketball seasons really go. Thank God, in one aspect, and for Jose to just keep on recouping and rekindling like this, it's incredible. I never worry about it.
And just one last shout. I mean, Jose is really great. He came out to the patio pre-pandemic, and had a nice patio cast and talked to everybody. And he's just a phenomenal coach. But he's stuck around. You see, even with UCF, when Coach A left, all of a sudden that changes the entire trajectory of that program. Like, it's hard to just completely reload in women's basketball, especially if you're not a power. I don't want to say power conference, because power conference isn't a thing in basketball, in women's basketball. But when you're one of those power programs, it's hard to reload. So I'm really happy that Jose's sticking around. He's making Tampa his home, and he's just incredible. He'll always go out and get new people and to reload, and fun time. Just a fun year.
So good. And I owe him, because I need to talk to him about some traveling this summer. So I need to talk with him here soon about Spain and his recruiting ventures out there. And for that man, for as international as he is, I mean, he scouts probably the best international I think I've ever seen. That's the staff that he's put together. They're phenomenal.
Well, Coach, if you have any tips on Italy, I'll be there in a couple months. So.
Pinzan was from Italy.
Yep.
Wasn't she? Yep. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just plan my entire trip around the FIBA World Championships, or the FIBA UEFA Championships, just for Jose, so you can meet us out there.
There you go.
Switching to the other sports for a little bit here. So we'll start with men's tennis, who
good weekend.
Yeah, good little weekend. So to kind of give a recap of what's been going on, so men's tennis traveled down to Boca for a little play-in tournament there against Florida Atlantic, Rice, and UC Santa Barbara, and they lost all three of the games, all three of the matches. Very uncharacteristic of an Ashley Fisher coached, bracket sport team. And Ashley Fisher, someone replied to the Twitter account, was like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, how do you go 0-3 against Rice, Florida Atlantic, and UC Santa Barbara, like three not very traditional powers?" And Ashley Fisher, God bless that man, was like, "We'll figure it out." And they did. So
he's one of those coaches that first weekend take with a grain of salt, because they always figure it out. Them and men's golf, they always figure it out.
They always will. That's why you never worry about those early season tournaments. They're whatever. So started the year 0-3. This past week and a half, they went 4-1 with much better showing. So now they're back to 500. So basically, toss out the first 3 weeks, or the first 2.5 weeks of the season, because it doesn't matter at this point. They started with a midweek matchup against Florida Gulf Coast. They won that game, or they won that match 5-2. They dropped the doubles points, but they got singles victories from Eric Revelius, Alvin Tudorica, Bruno Oliveira, and God, Thomas. I'm going to have to message you to figure out how to pronounce his last name. Thomas Pavlikovich Smith and Elijah Cham all won on their single sets to secure a victory for USF there.
I think you nailed it. Yeah, Pavlikovich sounds right.
Pavlikovich. It looks right. I can't tell if it's Serbian or what. It's Eastern European. I'm gonna have to figure it out. So they got the positive momentum going, and they just carried that even further. They thumped Georgia State 7-0. They swept every single court. No one dropped a set.
Hey, Stieg, what is that's incredible. That's amazing. What are the what is Georgia State's mascot?
The Panthers.
Panther.
Leave. So
oh man.
That was for Heath only. And then they continue that positive momentum. They beat Stetson, the Hatters, 5-2. Won the doubles point. Got wins out of David Tortera, Alvin Tudorica, Elijah Cham, and Tom Pisane. They're kind of matching some of these matches that they have. I think they have a pretty deep squad this year, so they're going to do that quite a few times. To Heath only. And then they turned right around. They had a tough match against Florida this past week. Florida, top 20 nationally, one of the best teams in the country. Historically, one of the best men's tennis programs of all time. Yada, yada, yada. They lost 4-1. Those weird midweek matchups, they usually don't play all the sets. They usually only play until they have enough points to secure the victory. Didn't take very long for Florida, unsurprisingly, but Alvin did win his game, which was great.
And that's, he's probably the ace on the team, and him getting a victory against Florida is just, it's incredible for him and the program.
And who was it? Bruno and Thomas Parkalovich. They beat the number 10 duo in the country as well during the doubles point. I forgot to mention that. So two really good victories there. But again, it's Florida. They're deeper. They have 6 guys that are in the top 30. So whatever. But they didn't let that bother them. They had a weird midweek matchup against SMU today. Yesterday during Gasparilla, and they won. They had a nice come from behind victory to beat the Mustangs, a historically very good men's tennis program, usually competing in the top 50 at any particular time. They lost the doubles point, and they lost on court 2 very quickly, so down 2-0 by blink of the hat. But they were able to rekindle it, and the true freshman, Elijah Cham, our new handsome Australian to replace, I can't even remember his name. Holy shit, I'm blanking.
I'm
Who
blanking
was?
too.
Oh my god, who was our handsome Australian king from last year? He had a mustache. God, I hate myself right now. I should have written this down. But
Figure it
yes,
out.
true
Figure it
freshman
out.
Elijah Tierno. Tierno? No, Vito, I need you on this. But he won on court 5 to secure the victory in a tiebreaker set. So good little victory to bring the Bulls to 4-4 on the year as it currently stands. I did not look at their composite. I don't know when they play again. So
you were referring to Mr. Chase Ferguson?
yes, Chase Ferguson, our handsome king.
Mm-hmm.
If you could pull up a picture of Chase Ferguson, I'd be in your endeavor.
Let's see. I think that'll do.
He had the biggest glow up of any USF student athlete I've ever seen. From like his freshman photo to his like senior year, he went from like, "Hi, my name's Chase. I'm here for Bio 101" to like, "I'm here to." Handsome man. My goodness gracious, that headband too, so good.
Oh, right. You can see me scrolling.
Yeah. Go to the historicals. Actually, we got like 9 minutes. Yeah. The little tab there. Yeah. Look at this softball photo. Look at that.
Chase Ferguson, and he was also very good at tennis.
Very, very good at tennis. So they have. Oh yeah, we're about to be in February. Shit, forgot about that. They have their next game on Friday against Middle Tennessee State. They're traveling up to Tennessee for a couple games up there in MTSU, and then against Memphis. So they've got a weird little schedule coming up here. And then women's tennis had their first match of the year. Lucky draw. Congratulations. You have to play the University of Florida in women's tennis.
Again? What are they, a top 20 team like every year?
Yeah, just about. They're just as good as their men's program, usually sending, Olympians there as well. So they lost that 6-1. So they played the full because it was kind of like your first of the year. Sierra Berry pleasantly won her single set, dominated her opponent there. So that's very welcome. Sierra Berry, it was a welcomed transfer for our women's tennis program. She's been just a gem, and she's also on like I think 3 of like our student athlete committees as well. So she's just a gem of a human being. 10 out of 10.
Last season, she was routinely as a true freshman or as a freshman was winning her matches, even though women's tennis as a whole didn't have a great year last season. For the record, she was always on top. Sierra Berry has a very bright future, and winning 6-1 against anyone from Florida is, again, just an outstanding feat. So we're looking forward to seeing what the whole program can do and what Sierra Berry does going on in the future.
Yeah, they definitely need like at least a good partner for her, and then maybe like 2 or 3 more players here. And I think this team would actually be very competent and very good because Sierra Berry can kind of secure your ace win one way or another. But yeah, so and then also shout out to Marta Falsetto Font. I think she played like the top 5, like a top 5 lady from University of Florida. Got into a 3rd set tiebreaker before things started to collapse there, and I think she lost 10-5 there. But she battled hard. She's a true freshman as well, who's doing pretty well for herself. Not a great draw for your first start of the year against like a top 20 team. So of course they turn right around and they have to play Florida A&M this Friday. So should be a better outcome, I hope. I think they lost against Florida A&M last year. So
we'll see what happens on Friday, but it's good you get a game in and then you turn around, have a week off. And see what happens. Tennis schedule is always very interesting to me. I did notice in the men's schedule they tend to work regionally, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. They'll play like tournaments around certain areas. So like men's tennis starting the year at Florida Atlantic for like 3 games there. They're going to go up to Tennessee for a couple games there. They'll do like these regional pockets, and then they'll start conference play. They'll play random conference games too. I don't understand tennis scheduling. Tennis rankings are also the weirdest things.
Yeah, the ITA rankings. You have noted. You could be like a 500 team, but still ranked.
Yeah.
And then you have the individual rankings where it's like, oh, this is the number, 20 doubles team, but the overall team isn't ranked, or the singles team, or singles players are ranked, and then they'll go to national championships when the team isn't. It's all very interesting, and I can't imagine being on those ranking committees trying to figure that out week to week.
Oh, it's like the net rankings for basketball. It's done the same way. It's done every 24 hours. They re-rank like just out of nowhere. I remember at one point last year, the men's tennis schedule, like every team that they played, they went on, I think, like a 5-game win streak in conference. And like every team was ranked, and they did not move up in the rankings at all. And then they lost to SMU to like end the year, and they moved up like 10 spots. I didn't
quality loss, my friend. Quality loss.
Yeah, high quality loss. It's weird. ITA, I don't know what they do there, but yeah. So Alvin, I think, is like number 67 in the country right now. I think he's the only player that's ranked. Maybe Sierra might be getting ranked soon, but we'll see. Yeah, they've got some matches this weekend. We'll see how they can, if men's tennis can continue the positive momentum, and if women's tennis can put together a good little win streak here.
Yeah, it's still early in the season, and well, we'll see what happens. So, track and field. Yes, TNF did well this weekend. You did remember correctly, Mr. Wizard. Your boy Kobe Babin won men's pole vault. Hit a personal best of 5.23 meters. That's very high.
How is that in feet? Hold on.
I just talking. I think about that with the way the pole vault is, and just the coming down.
Yeah, that I don't get it. That is 17 feet. That's a high fucking jump.
You got to learn how to fall nicely. I know it's cushioned, but still.
I always think to like those fail videos where the guy like lands on the pole. Yeah, I hate it.
Yikes.
Hate it.
Okay, so speaking of, Stonebaker finished 8th in the pole vault, and Romaine Beckford again won the high jump with 2.18 meters.
Which casually
jumping super high. Romaine Beckford's great. He's breaking every record. Like I said, the field part of track and field has been pretty great the past few years. Anaya Ashley got second women. So, Stieg, it says second women's with 1.75 meters. Is that high jump?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember which one it was. It might have been high jump, actually. I have all these notes, and I very quickly wrote that down.
I'll move on. David Ajamas got second in triple jump, 15.65 meters. Arden LaRosewith, a personal best of personal best in the mile run. Oh, how about that? That's nice.
Goddamn, mile run, just that sounds terrible to me.
Yeah, long distance running is tough. As someone who does long distance running, I see some of these numbers and I'm like, I can't even attempt 5 minutes and 9 seconds. Nope.
By the way, we should clarify. So this was the PNC Louisville meet. What is it? Lenny Lyles Invitational. So last meet that they had, the Jimmy Cairns Invitational, that was more of like some schools in the state of Florida. It was like UCF, UNF, Southeast University, whoever. This was a much more competitive field of schools. They're like Louisville, Memphis was there, Georgia Tech, bunch of more traditional track and field programs were there. So this was a much more difficult field of events for the track and field team. And yes, Anaya Ashley second in the high jump at 1.75.
Excellent. So they had 2 first place winners on the men's side, and then the women's 4x400 relay won. They got second fastest time in USF history, which we were writing all these roundups last year. They were routinely winning the 4x400 with different teams, and the record book has to be within the last couple of years because they just keep rewriting it. And I see Shania Benjamin's on that team again, and she is incredible. But again, the 4x400, second fastest in USF history. rewriting the record books, and they got first place in this as well. So as the short running goes, speed running, they are really doing much better than in years past.
Right.
So first place finishes is great.
Yeah, and it's usually once they get past like the mile, like once you get past like the 400 meter, actually, that's when they usually historically struggle. So like 1600 meters, 2000 meter, 4000 meters, that's when they start to struggle. But
all the cross country stuff.
Yeah, I don't blame them. But overall, plenty of top 10 finishes for the track and field team, again against really good competition from around the Southeast. So nothing to scoff at, nothing to be they're improving steadily, and that's the most important part. And I was trying to stall so that I could pull up when their next meet is, and it didn't work out in my favor, so I'm just now chatting. I think they're going to Harvard. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're going to Harvard.
They got Hillsborough versus Harvard.
Yeah, big matchup here. So February 3rd, so this Friday, they're heading up to Harvard for the Harvard Crimson Elite. It's in Boston. If I recall correctly, this event is done alongside like a bunch of other New England schools. So I think Boston University, like each school hosts like a separate event. So like I think Harvard does more of the track. No, Harvard does like the field events, and then like BU does the track events or something along those lines. And so USF will have, it's all taking place in Boston, but they'll have like different, segments done around this steady, whatever it is. It's really cool. It's something that I know the team obviously looks forward to go up there for a little bit. So they've got that this Friday and Saturday. So we'll have that round up, and hopefully they have some good showings there. This one, again, is a more competitive field. A lot of New England schools, a lot of Big Ten schools will compete, and Big Ten is historically really good track programs there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So it's two different events that happen in Boston. Hopefully it's not, super cold. And the Chiefs just won. So MVS has the ability to win a ring. Okay, there's 3 seconds left. All bets are off.
What's the score?
23-20, 3 seconds left, KC. Obviously next week is February, but February 9th, softball starts, and baseball's not too far behind.
Baseball starts 19 days.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Bat sports are exciting. So that's what's coming up this week. That's what ended up happening the past week and change. Sorry for the weird scheduling on this. With all the sports that are going on, we're trying to find the right amount of time to talk about everything, and this ended up being the best. Also, my schedule is really wacky last week and this week, so apologies for that. But everybody's favorite segment, Fellas and Bellas.
Let's get it. Vito.
So my Bella of the week is Dulcie Fanka Mangiadu. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Just secured her 1,000th career rebound and her 50th double-double, and is a walking double-double every time she walks into the arena. She has absolutely killed it this year, and the past 3 games that we discussed, no less. I'm excited to see what she does in the rest of this season and put her up against some top competition, because Dulcie has really killed it for USF. It's been a great find to get her to transfer from Memphis, and one of the better basketball players I've seen play. She's fun to watch. She's exciting to watch. Let's see what she does the rest of the year, but just walking double-double. She'll always get 10 rebounds. She'll always score 15 points. It's just what's going to happen. So Dulcie Fanka Mengiadu is my Bella of the week and change.
She's inevitable. That's what it is. That's all you can really say. Before we get to Bella of the week, yes, there is a USF baseball kind of like tailgate / party / kickoff thing this Sunday, February 5th at Paddy Wagons over by USF. So, yeah, we need a Fells and Bella's theme song. February 5th at Paddy Wagons. Those guys, the Bruin at McEwen guys, do a fantastic job of keeping up with all of the bat sports. Probably going to do a much better job than we are. So we might have to bring them on here every once in a while, but they know their shit. They know how well this team is going to perform this year. They have a really deep, really talented roster. Like we kind of mentioned before, wasn't very high picked in the conference by the other coaches. Cliff Godwin did give his lone first place vote that he can't vote for himself to USF. I don't know if that was like he just pick one on the list or something like that, because ECU is going to be the best team by far. But that's at least worth something. A first place vote is always nice. I went back and forth on this one for like 15 minutes trying to figure out who the fucking fella of the week was going to be. I don't want to give it to a men's basketball player as much as I love them. Tyler Harris going for a career high 33 points against UCF is forever going to be one of my favorite things ever. Is just the curse of UCF at the Yuengling Center. But I can't, in good conscience, choose one of them because of other things. And men's tennis, not consistent enough for me this past week. Alvin being ranked in the top 70 is fantastic. Bruno had some good showings. Elijah Cham, clutch as all hell. But I have to give it to Kobe Bavin. Personal best on pole vaults, always fantastic. Getting first place, securing that dub for track and field there. And he was the cover athlete for the little write-up that they did. So looking very good there. Yeah. He no longer has the mustache. He has the full beard going right now, and it's still as handsome as ever. So he is absolutely the fellow of the week. God, 17 feet. You kidding me?
I'm on a ladder at 15 feet, and I'm like, nope, a 16-foot ladder. Can't imagine pole vaulting that high. That's
terrible.
I would love to see some of these events happen. I know there's not like a way to watch them outside of the running sports, but I'm always interested in seeing what these athletes, like how you get hyped up beforehand. Do you have time before you go and do the thing? Is there like, do you accidentally skip on with the pole? I don't know. There's questions that I have that I'd like to ask one of these days.
I know it happens every year, but there absolutely needs to be like an average Joe at like these types of things. Like Coach Jenkins, if you're watching and you're listening,
let a couple
hit me up.
Yeah, let a couple jabronis like us just go and try to do some of this stuff.
Right. Just we'll help your team warm up a little bit. Put me on 200-meter hurdles and see what I'm able to do.
No.
Put me on high jump next to Romaine Beckford and see who's going to jump higher. I bet I'll shock the world here. But like, it's just I have the utmost I know we joke about like the cross country and how bad USF is at some of the running sports sometimes, but like, fuck man, that shit's hard.
Oh, absolutely. Running in Florida is just impossible. Yeah, we always talked about doing the Balloon Olympics, so we should get it set up. Who runs the fastest 40 out of all of us? It's probably sneaky like Nate. Nate is probably deceptively fast.
Nate gets moving, then he hits just an absolute burner, 22 miles an hour.
We all run a brisk 5.5.
Brisk. So Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Austin Ryder and former USF quarterback Chris Oladokun are going to be playing for a Super Bowl. Hopefully,
Chris Oladokun. That's right.
We claim him.
We do.
We absolutely. I don't know if anyone was paying attention to all the drama around like Jalen Hurts and who claims him and everything like that. I'm claiming anyone that visited the University of South Florida. Oh, you didn't even have to go here. If they visited, hilarious. I'm claiming them. They're all mine. Vito, I think we've hit the talk point at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's still 7 of you watching, listening.
Love it, guys. Love it. So for us, for Vito, myself, Robert Stieglife, for the Daily Stampede, as a friendly reminder, please follow us on Twitch. If you follow us and you send me or Vito or Nate or Seth or any of the guys or even the house account a message and screenshot, we will let you into the Daily Stampede Discord. There is a lot of good stuff, as you can hear, happening in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of recruiting nuggets for USF football, a lot of discussions around the various sports that are going on. A lot of good things are happening in there. Quite a good community of things. We have a good few channels about food and traveling and wrestling and any other special interest that you have. So
we just have, general football chat or general game chat. People are talking hockey. Seth was talking Royal Rumble last night with a few people. It's your standard Discord stuff. We have a good time there. So if you want to be part of the community, we definitely make sure you follow us and then go ahead and DM us, because that's how we know. Otherwise, we don't know who followed who, because everyone's got weird Twitch handles. So make sure you do both, and then join. And then we have a suggestions box. We're just adding new things as we go. That's the cool thing about that, is anybody who wants to talk about something. I mean, the travel talk's been great. Now everyone in restaurants, everyone's talking about restaurants or places to go to brunch. We had a question: what's your favorite brunch place? Who makes the best Cuban sandwich? Steve went to Flan Factory the other day. Flan Factory the other day.
Flanders Factory.
And we were talking about, delicious food.
It's great. It's fantastic. But for both of us, go Bulls.
Go Bulls. Adios.